and thank you for joining us on All Things Service Podcast with Nick Lambert. I, of course, am Nick Lambert. Today, I am representing one of my favorite shirts. It is the New York Yankees Bronx Bomber shirts. Of course, for a lot of us baseball fans out there, it is opening day for the new 2025 season, and I am very, very excited to see what my team does today, not only today, but this year. My guest today has had over 25 years in the service-driven sector. Everything from retail to concierge. He's also a very great friend of mine. I've known him for 26, 27 years, and he is very, very funny, very witty. And so I wanted to bring on my good friend, Mr. Ben Pourier. Ben, welcome to the podcast today, and thanks for being a guest. How are you?
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure that you asked me, and I'm doing absolutely fantastic. It's a gorgeous day in the Twin Cities. I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota right now, and having just a grand old day so far. How about yourself? How you doing?
I'm doing great down in the dry Texas atmosphere where the wind is actually blowing. So hopefully that doesn't affect our recording too much. But yes, sun is shining. It's a beautiful day other than the wind. And so you're up in Minneapolis, the Twin Cities. When you say Twin Cities, what are you, Minneapolis or are you St. Paul?
So I live in Minneapolis proper, and St. Paul is right across the river, the Mississippi River. I work in Bloomington, and Bloomington is best known for the largest mall and entertainment complex in the entire country, the Mall of America. And that happens to be where I work as well. So yeah, I personally live in Minneapolis, but anytime someone asks where I live, I like to say the Twin Cities, just because everyone knows the Twin Cities and how gorgeous it is up here, how many lakes we have. Minnesota's a land of 10,000 lakes, but there's technically, like, I think last time they actually counted, like well over 12,000.
And how many of those lakes have you visited? Have you hit all 10,000 yet?
Nope, just 3.
And we're not saying 3,000, just 3.
Correct. Yes, uno, dos, tres. And I live like not even a mile from Lake of the Isles, one of them. So I have no excuse. All jokes aside, I have been to quite a few. I would say, I mean, it's hard to not pass one when anytime you go to the suburbs or like to Maple Grove, if you're going to like towards St. Cloud or even up towards Moorhead, which of course Moorhead is dang near Fargo, so that's way up there. But yeah, I mean, honestly, and to give you a guesstimate exact number of how many lakes I've actually seen or been to, I'd probably say about 50, something like that.
All right.
Would like to see more. Duluth has always been a lovely area that I'd like to go up north. Grand Marais, which is essentially Canada, way up there.
Well, let's see what we can do to get you on tour to visit each and every lake.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you can put it on social media and you can be like, all right, I'm here at Lake, whatever it is, Lake Trinidad. Now I'm at Lake Smith. And tomorrow I'm visiting Lake Jones. You could actually just be a YouTuber that just visits the 10,000 lakes.
Yes. I would do that probably until I take my last breath. If that was the case. I would need to visit like 37 a day.
And you still wouldn't get through them all.
Correct.
I love that. Twin Cities, I agree. It's so much better when you call it Twin Cities versus Minneapolis. Minneapolis sounds so metropolitan, just so massive. St. Paul sounds a little more Catholic, maybe. I don't know. Right. But then when you say Twin Cities, it's like, oh, okay, Minnesota Twins,
right?
The Vikings.
Yeah. Speaking of, I meant to. Tried not to interrupt you when you were giving your New York Yankees.
Are you a Twins fan?
I am a Twins fan. I live less than a mile from Target Field, and I support my local teams as much as possible. I'm a fan of mainly the Timberwolves and Vikings are probably my two biggest pride and joy of my fandom. But yeah, the Twins, it's always a lovely time I love that you can go to a Twins game at noon on a Thursday. You can't really do that for the Timberwolves. So
always
joy to, and even if we're doing bad, pay $5 to get into the field and sit there with a beer, catch up with a buddy, go through about 9 bags of peanuts, and you're golden.
Living in Texas, that's actually one of the cool things. If we want to go to a Rangers game, I can take the whole family and I can buy cheap nosebleed tickets for 10 to 15 bucks.
Right.
And the whole family can go for under $100. Now, by the time I'm done with all the food and the drinks, I mean, that's another story. I mean, they've got
Right.
the 3-foot hot dog, the massive Texas style nachos, which they were teasing me. They were putting out pictures of that stuff today. And I was showing my wife and I'm showing some friends. I'm like, we are going to the game this weekend because
Right.
I need to get some of that.
Amen. Amen. I hear you.
You know, and I don't know if you knew this, but one of my bucket list items is I want to go to every major league ballpark in America and have a beer and a hot dog. And I don't drink beer, so we're going to say a Bloody Mary and a hot dog.
There you go.
Or you know, a rum and Coke and a hot dog. One of the
Or just put your hot dog in your Bloody Mary.
I mean, hey, anymore, you've seen some of those Bloody Marys that they come up with and they bring the whole picture and it's got everything on it. It's got the celery stick, it's got the bacon, it's got the chicken wing, it's got half a pig on it, a rack of lamb. Might as well throw a hot dog on the top too.
If you're a carnivore that doesn't mind every type of meat on a stick, soaked in tomato juice, then you're gonna do just fine.
That's right up my alley, man. Right up my alley. In fact, actually, the other night, Jen was showing me a picture of Guy Fieri's restaurant in Las Vegas, the one that's right by the link.
Flavortown. Is that what it is? Yeah, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So she's showing me a picture of the Bloody Mary, and it's got like a chicken wing on it. It's got like a piece of bacon that looks like it's been the most.
I was gonna say pre-chewed.
Yeah, no, not pre-chewed.
Oh my god.
And they take it off of this guy's plate and they throw it on. They're like, all right, we're gonna recycle.
Yeah, Guy Fieri's plate.
I mean, would you put it in your mouth then? I mean, I don't know. At that point, it's like guys' lips have touched this. Do you go for it?
Lord.
So, but I'm seeing this picture of the chicken wing and it's got the bacon, it's got everything else on it. And she says, you're going to be in Vegas at the end of April. You need to go try this. And I looked at it and I said, where's that at? And she told me, I said, I actually had that last September when I was there. And she's like, and you didn't send me a picture? It was 11 o'clock at night. I wasn't going to send you a picture of my Bloody Mary at 11 o'clock at night when you don't even like to drink Bloody Marys.
Also, the fact that you were having a Bloody Mary, which is the most lovely traditional breakfast brunch drink at 11 p.m. Hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I could drink Bloody Marys all morning, all afternoon, all evening. We were on a 90s cruise earlier last, I guess call it early February, so early last month, right? And some friends of ours, he found a really good bartender and he said, these guys are making the best Bloody Marys on the whole ship. So he's like, in fact, I already got you one. I'm like, okay, so I'm drinking it and I'm like, oh, these are good. I sat there the whole day and drank nothing but Bloody Marys.
Nice.
And it's healthy because it's tomato juice, right?
With a lot of sodium, yes. I hope you took your blood pressure meds that
day. I did. So I'm, having Bloody Marys at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, listening to Everclear perform on the deck of the pool.
Fabulous. That sounds amazing.
You're like, and who is Everclear?
Only Everclear I know is banned in Minnesota because it's too high in alcohol content.
Okay, hold on. Is that true? Is it really banned in Minnesota?
Yes, you could have to go across the border to Wisconsin.
Got to go to Canada and pay the tariff to get it in.
Let's not go there right now.
Yes, we do try to keep politics off of this. So we're going to go back to the Twin Cities. How long have you lived there now, Ben?
I moved here September of 2010. So this September will be 15 years.
Wow. 15 years in the Twin Cities. And what was the main reason of going to the Twin Cities? Was it because you were looking for a job, or did you just load up the car one day and say, that's where I'm going?
Well, I had some friends that lived up here and I came to visit them. We came to see a concert. Actually, we came to see Beyonce at the Target Center. And I said, oh my Lord, this is the city life. And it's funny to say that in retrospect, me thinking back then, coming from South Dakota, what city life is. Because right now that I live in the Twin Cities, city life to me right now is New York, Chicago, Houston.
Right. It's not where you live.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. But I had a few decisions that I had to make in my life where I was a retail manager, and I was demoted due to the location that I was working at. What
So retail manager of what store?
a Bath and Body Works.
Bath and Body Works. Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
was this and this obviously wasn't in the Twin Cities because you moved somewhere from the Twin Cities.
right. Well, I moved to the Twin Cities from Sioux Falls. I lived in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So I was a co-manager at the Bath and Body Works in Rapid City, South Dakota. The store wasn't performing as well, so they eliminated my position, unfortunately. So, but I still wanted to obviously make sure that company succeeded and do the best I could. And so I moved across the state to Sioux Falls, and having more exposure to the Twin Cities from living in Sioux Falls, obviously way closer, only a 4-hour drive versus a 9-hour drive.
Oh wow.
So when I came up and my boss at the time at Bath and Body in Sioux Falls, she had gone to culinary school back in the day. So she was a professionally trained chef. And she said, Ben, we talk about cooking every single day. We talk about what everything from a bechamel is to a roux to you name it, every sauce in the book. And she said, why don't you go to culinary school? And I was like, oh my Lord, that's an avenue that I might want to go down. Yeah, okay. So I transferred to Bath and Body Works in Roseville, Minnesota, which is right closer to St. Paul than it is Minneapolis. And I said, you know what? I want to go to culinary school. So I started at the Art Institute downtown Minneapolis.
Oh wow.
Quite the commute every single day. My day started at like 7 a.m. And
So did you get on like your bike and just ride to school every day?
I did not. I did drive. But again, this is boy coming from South Dakota, didn't realize you had to pay for parking every single day that you went there. So not only did you have to pay for school, you had to pay for parking, just the gas, obviously. And I got 6 weeks into it, and I was having a blast learning. I perfected my knife skills, just the basic 101s of cooking and culinary education. And by the 6th week, I got into it, and I'm thinking, I don't know if I can handle this, because I had a conflict with one of my, not coworker, just classmates. And the chef instructor got involved, and this man, don't know where he is today, but he thought he was Gordon Ramsay. And I said, you know what? I would do way better front of the house than back of the house, because it got to the point where if you're going to get mad at me about something and speak to me like I'm 5, and we have to go into the freezer to cool off. Like literally, I learned that's where conflicts in restaurants and places go.
Yeah.
Anytime you need to cool off, you actually literally cool off.
Yeah, you go to the freezer, you go to the walk-in. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
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 Yeah. So I said, you know what? This isn't for me. This isn't for me. I can't do this. I love the what I've learned so far, but I'm built from front of the house. And that's just why I was a retail manager, responsible for training and developing associates on the front lines. People that come to the mall, like make you feel welcome, give them the best service possible.
Driven person, putting you in the back of the house,
right?
That's like telling Tom Brady that he's going to be a running back the rest of his career. It just doesn't work, right? Tom's not a runner. It's the same with you.
Like you're still dealing with the people in the same industry, but a different role that you're not made for.
Exactly. Yeah. You're more made for interacting with people and hospitality and making sure that people are taken care of.
Right. Which is what I love to do when I invite friends over. I love to, even family. My mom, she breaks my heart every time she says her favorite restaurant is her son's kitchen. And the first time she told me that, I'm just like, that's the sweetest thing anyone's ever said to me in my entire life. And I'm like, it did come from my mom.
Your mom, she's one of the sweetest ladies I've ever met. And those Indian tacos that she makes, oh, my mouth is watering right now.
It's the fry bread, man.
Oh, it is. But it's, I digress. That is fantastic. So what'd you do? Did you keep doing culinary school? Did you find another avenue?
No. So thank God when I did move to the Twin Cities, I did transfer with Bath and Body Works. So I started to pursue my retail career. And so I was with Bath and Body Works for a while. But I still wanted to be part of the restaurant industry, because back in the day I worked at Olive Garden and I had just a blast. Oh my God. Daily we had a blast. And so I was like, you know what? I kind of want to get a part-time gig serving tables, doing something fun at a sports bar. Well, Buffalo Wild Wings had just opened in the Mall of America.
Oh my goodness.
And they, at the time, were the fastest growing restaurant in the entire country. And I
Wow.
thought, ooh, this is going to be cool. And largest mall in the country, fastest growing restaurant in the country. There's some opportunity here. So I took advantage of that and I got hired the day I applied. I worked there for 3 years. I was a server, trainer, and just I got to help build the pride and passion of not only the B-Dubs brand, but hi, we're in the Twin Cities where we have like every major sport possible. And so, oh my gosh, I never had so much fun building relationships with guests and people. When, you should know this from your history in the service industry. When people come back and they ask for you by name, when they request you,
Yep.
there's no better feeling. There's no better
No, for
feeling
sure.
because you know you touched somebody, you touched someone's soul, their heart, you made their day, and they want more. Why wouldn't you?
Yes. Why wouldn't you? And we're not talking inappropriate touching.
I mean, hey, and my mind actually went there, but I didn't say it because I'm not as inappropriate as you.
you, you know,
Kidding.
one of the things that used to make other servers mad, a lot of people out there may or may not know, but I spent 7 years of my life working as a front of the house trainer and a server at Applebee's. And I used to have a waiting list for my section.
Right.
Other
Right.
people would have, you usually had like, I don't know, call it 6 tables during a day shift, right?
Yeah.
I would have 6 tables full. The rest of the restaurant servers would have 3, maybe 4 tables. And I'd have 2 or 3 people waiting at the door to get
Right.
my section. Now, this wasn't all the time, but this happened quite a bit.
Right. Yeah.
And for me, yeah, those relationships were amazing. And what was so cool is when Jen and I got married, a lot of these people knew us. Some of them we actually gave invites to our wedding to. I actually got, and this is 20 some years ago when $100 was a lot of money. I actually had guests that I used to take care of all the time, and they actually gave us $200 as a wedding gift. These
Right.
people didn't know me outside of Applebee's at all. And I just thought, you know what? That is the most amazing thing ever. So when you
Right.
talk about building relationships and having your own clientele,
Mhm.
they come to B-Dubs because of the experience for the food, the sports
Yes.
bar in the Twin Cities, amazing. And this is in the Mall of America too, which on top of that, that's even amazing. But then they get to ask for Ben, and they get Ben's section, they get Ben's service, they get the attitude that Ben puts off to, which if you don't know Ben, Ben is, like I said, very quick witted. And so you're just making their experience all that much more loved
Yeah,
and
gotta be relaxed.
relaxed. And then when they're trying to figure out where do we go for dinner on a Friday night or Thursday, whatever it is, let's go see Ben. Let's go heckle Ben.
Right. 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 Yes.
Exactly. I love it.
Let's let Ben pick the music on the touch tunes tonight.
Let's not and say we did. Let's let Nick do it. Let's let Nick do it.
Oh my gosh. You're trying to bring people in.
Hey, I mean, we're playing some good stuff, right? We're not going to be playing anything that, um,
I will say, what band was that we saw at the Black Hills Speedway? Was it Firehouse?
yes. Well,
That
we saw
was
more than one band. We saw Quiet Riot. I'm trying to think if we saw Quiet Riot. I think we saw a couple bands, but I think the main one we saw was Firehouse. Yeah,
Firehouse. Yeah, I think that was our main reason for going.
it was. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't dog your music taste. You've actually introduced me to a lot of classic rock and just music that I grew like with my parents. I grew up listening to country with my mom a lot, and then classic rock and country with my dad. Well, some of my uncles were just dead set on classic rock. I mean, I would not have known who Whitesnake was unless it was for my uncle Ben.
You're
And
like,
then
what's a
when I
white snake?
then when I found out that Whitesnake was coming to the Sturgis rally and you wanted to go, I'm like,
I was
sure.
I remember telling, Jen and I are scheduled to get married a week later. And I remember
Mhm.
telling
Oh
her,
yeah, that was
you remember
around.
that? Yeah. So I said,
Yeah.
I know we're closing on our house. I think it was like the 8th, 7th or 8th of, I think it was the 8th of August. And this is 2003. We were supposed to close on our house. And so, and then we were getting married August 15th. And so a week before the 8th, I was like, I'm going to Sturgis. and I'm going to go see White Snake with Ben, and then we're going to go see Firehouse at the Speedway. And I still remember my dad being like, "You are a moron. How could you
Oh
go
my
to
God.
church? You're about ready to get married. Why would you do that?" And I'm like, "Dad, it's not like you think. There's not a bunch of Hell's Angels out there. It's so commercialized. It's mostly
Right.
doctors and lawyers and
Mhm.
wrestlers for a time."
Right. Right.
But
Right.
that's great to know that I've introduced you to some good music. And we're going to talk about some of that a little bit later. But I want to get back to B Dubs. You said you were there for 3 years.
3 years. Yep. From 2012 until 2015.
Wow.
And then, yeah, so it was a good time. It was a very good time. It started to lose its appeal per se, and thank God that company has been bought by, I believe, the same company that owns Arby's, and they're thriving better than they were back in the day now. So I
Yeah.
strongly commend whoever took over the management of B Dubs.
B
Love the
Dubs.
rebrand.
So before we jump off of the B Dubs bandwagon, I got to know best wing sauce.
Parmesan garlic will always hold a special place in my heart because I love Italian food.
Oh, yeah.
You know what though? This is extremely controversial amongst a lot of my former coworkers, but Beat Ups once had a seasonal sauce called bourbon honey mustard, and my
Yeah.
friend, see, that's always everyone's initial
You know what
reaction.
this, I hate mustard to begin with. Then you add honey to it. Oh, this mustard needs a little sweetener. You know what else it needs? It pair really good with a bourbon.
Do you know how many people that would appeal to? Actually, not very many because that sauce has been gone for decades and they never brought it back. No,
Ben's
but
going to start a movement to bring back honey mustard bourbon. Was it a wing sauce or barbecue sauce?
it was wing sauce. Yeah,
Wing sauce.
it wasn't not barbecue. It was literally bourbon honey mustard, and it was just my jam.
So if
Wasn't
you're out there
spicy at
listening
all.
right now, drop a hashtag to B Dubs and say Ben says bring back your bourbon honey mustard wing sauce. Have you tried look?
Hashtag.
Have you hashtag what?
I was gonna say hashtag bourbon. You can spell it however the hell you want.
Have you tried looking for a copycat recipe out there?
I have, and it involves setting alcohol on fire, and I'm not about to put the risk management of my insurance or of my apartment complex in any form of conflict. So, yeah,
I
no,
don't
I'm.
blame you. I don't blame you.
That's my number one thing in culinary school that I wish I would have stayed and learned how to safely do is when you're making like an actual vodka sauce or again anything involving booze. When you watch on TV, they have these massive kitchens
Oh yeah.
or like they're outside or something. I was like, I still wouldn't do that. Forest Service would be after me. So yeah, we're just
The
not even gonna
Twin
risk.
Cities is on fire because Ben decided to try to make vodka pasta sauce and lit it on fire the wrong
Oh,
way.
oh my lord. Yeah. So yeah, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that.
So it lost its luster at B Dubs. You decide after that you're going to make a career change at this point, or did you stay in the restaurant industry?
So there was a life event that happened at the end of March of 2015. My dad had to have heart surgery, and so
Oh wow.
He went to Mayo Clinic, which is in Rochester, conveniently for me. It was only like an hour and a half south of here, and hung out with him for a week while he recovered. And he asked me, he said, question, and I know he did his research. He said, when is your lease up on your apartment? I was like, end of this month? Why do you ask? He said, do you want to come back to South Dakota, hang out with me for a while, and be my like personal attendant essentially, to cook for me, hang out with me, to give me a ride to rehab, for his heart, exercise, to just all that. And I said, you know what? I would be more than honored to do that. Absolutely. I mean, with our parents, they've done so much for us growing
For
up.
sure. You want to be able to
Um,
help them too.
correct. And by no means did I feel obligated at all. It was just a natural response. Yes, of course. Why wouldn't I? Like,
Mhm.
obviously, why are you even asking me? So I said, yeah, I would love to do that. So I moved back home to South Dakota for a little bit, and I had probably about a 7 month time away from the cities. And this actually built perfectly into our service discussion. So when I was in South Dakota and we were talking about the Sturgis Rally,
Mm-hmm.
hung out with my dad every day, had a blast. And of course, South Dakota, no disrespect. It's my home state. I will always consider it my home state.
For sure.
There's not a lot to do there unless you like hiking and motorcycles. And so,
staring at the presidents every day.
yes, exactly. Which perfect segue because I got a job as a parking attendant at Mount Rushmore.
I love it. I love it. I remember years ago when I went up there and I met you and you took me to breakfast there. And it was actually a really good breakfast.
Oh,
So-
greatest breakfast of all time. Yeah.
So did you get
I
breakfast?
call it the D-boat.
Did you throw that into the deal with being working up there where you're like, I got to have free breakfast every single morning? So you're there 10 years, you're there over 2015. And I remember that because I called, I think I texted you and I'm like, hey, one of my favorite bands, Collective Soul, is going to be playing in September in the Black Hills up at
Right.
Deadwood. And you're like, yeah, and I'm here. And I'm like,
and
and you're like, I'm here. And I'm like, what?
Right.
You're there. And so I found out about everything and I found out you were there. And so I actually was able to come down and spend a couple days with you. And we went up and we saw Collective Soul. I pissed a lot of old people off because I stuck $20 into a slot machine.
That's
You remember
right.
that?
I do vividly now. One of the old people that was also mad.
So I never had played War, and so we're playing War. I slapped $20 down. It's gone within two seconds, and I couldn't believe how fast $20
Literally
on the
2
game of War.
seconds.
Yeah, like literally, I slap it down, and then it's like War, bet again, and it's gone. And so then I take another 20, and there's this massive slot machine,
Right.
one of the ones with the big numbers on it.
Right.
So I go over there, I put $20 in, and I've learned this from you because I hit 3 sevens before I got married, only putting in a quarter, not max betting, and I won like $4.
Yes.
I would have won $10,000.
Oh,
You remember that?
yep.
I still got the picture. I'm going to try to find the picture and throw it up on the podcast here. But I got the picture where I am standing by the machine. It's hit 3 sevens, and I am sad because I didn't win anything. And so
Right.
learning my lesson, I put a $20 in. The max bet on this is $5. I hit it once, nothing. Hit it twice, nothing. Hit it 3 times, nothing. I remember I turned to you, I pushed it again, and I said, boy, that's the quickest $20 I ever lost. And you're like, you lost it faster at War. And then all of a sudden I hear this ching, and I look, and ching, 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 and it keeps going and going. It just keeps going far that a bunch of older people who are gambling, and we're talking about not just gambling. These people are there every single day gambling.
Right.
They
Yes.
come up and they watch that I've hit the jackpot and won like 25, I think it was like $2,800 or something.
It was about, roughly $2,000.
It was a little, somewhere over that. And then they started coming up and wanting to shake my hand because they thought I had a lucky touch.
No, when Harold put his hand towards you, that was a fist, not a handshake.
And then I had people coming up and saying, well, how long have you been playing that machine? I walked by and put $20 in. And
About 30 seconds.
About 30
Now
seconds.
now move along.
And they're cussing me out as they're getting on their little scooter driving away.
God love old people. Some of my favorite people in the world.
That was a great time. So you stay there, you help your father out, and then you hear this longing to go back to the city.
So my
happened with that?
goal before I had moved, I noticed that they were building a hotel on the north end of the Mall of America, and I was like, wow, what is that? What is that going to be anyway? And one of my colleagues at Buffalo Wild Wings said it's a JW Marriott. I was like, that's like a really, really nice hotel. And this was before I was totally oblivious back then to, when I would travel with my family, we would stay at like choice hotels, which is, talking like Holiday Inn and Comfort Inn and all that. That's where like our budget allowed us to stay.
Sure.
And when we had found out that there's going to be a JW Marriott, my coworkers at BWS said, you should apply there. And I was like, I serve chicken wings right now. You honestly think they're gonna hire me at a luxury hotel?
You're like, I like the bourbon honey mustard sauce at B-Dubs that nobody else likes. You really think they're going to hire me at this 5-star hotel?
Right. So that was the plan at the time, was for me to go back to South Dakota. I thought to myself, you know what? After my gig at Mount Rushmore was done, I wanted to rewind a little bit though and tell you, like, from a service standpoint,
Yes.
that establishment was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I was only there for 3 months, but you know what? It opened my mind, broadened my perspectives, or I didn't even know how to explain it, but I'd never thought I would encounter someone from every single state in the United States of America every single day. Oh my word. And not even the United States. It was, I mean, you got your Italian tourists, Germany, Asian countries, all that. So one of the best things that I thought I would do is people would come up to me. They would say salut or bienvenido, bonjour, all that. I was like, oh my gosh, I should learn some of these languages. Obviously, I'm not going to learn 17 languages in a day. So I started to look up on my phone how to say welcome in Italian, thank you in Spanish, all of that. And not everyone takes the initiative
Sure.
to conform themselves to other people's cultures and
Absolutely.
language.
Yep.
When you do that, the people on the other side who are visiting you, they appreciate that so much. Oh my word, the amount of feedback that I got from my bosses, like, again, when you get that recognition, nothing feels better than recognition. And I would come home every single day thinking, I made like 5 to 10 people's day today just by knowing their language and just by being nice. Good Lord. It's the easiest thing in the world to do, is be nice and get to know your clientele, get to know your guests.
Absolutely.
And know their interests and why they're there. And just ask those questions and listen to them. And you can learn so much, so much about your guests, clientele, whatever you want to call. Like, it's funny because at the hotel, obviously, we have guests. A lot of like uppity agencies, they have clientele. A company like Walmart, they have customers. No matter what you brand, the people that are coming to you, they still need to feel appreciated somehow.
Absolutely. Yes, 100%.
And so that's what kind of led me to have confidence in applying at the JW, because after I researched that brand, at the time they had 75 hotels worldwide, which, I mean, think about it. How many Holiday Inns do you think are worldwide? Well, even in just the United States. Thousands. Yeah. Whereas the JW, where there's under 100, I was like, ooh, that's a pretty prestigious brand. And I thought, wow, they're only going to hire the cream of the crop. And so, you know what? I applied, and my now general manager, when he first interviewed me, he asked me, he said, why on earth would you make the switch from retail and restaurants? Not like high-end restaurants, not like a Michelin-starred restaurant by any means.
Even though the bourbon honey mustard sauce sounds like it could come from one.
Yes, that would be a Goodyear star, not a Michelin star. So I said, yes, let's apply at this hotel. And I had an interview, and I started off. I said I wanted to. I applied for the concierge position, and he said, So you've never worked in a hotel before?" I said, "No." He said, "Let's get you started at the front desk and learn the ins and outs, basically the 101s of a hotel, the hospitality industry." And I said, "Okay, sounds good." So I did the front desk for a year, moved back to the cities in November of 2010. Sorry, September. No, Jesus.
I was like 2010, you're going backwards.
Yeah. No. I don't call it Benjamin Button, as the other way. See it? That's what I call a Benjamin Button. I'm just being stupid. It was November of 2015 that I moved back. So I was in South Dakota for those 7 months helping my dad out. And I moved back, and I helped open that hotel. That was November of 2015. And it is about to be November 2025. And time flies, and I've never, ever, ever thought I would experience I felt like, I mean, I remember that like it was a year ago. And the amount of connections, the amount of guests and memories that I've curated and I've made for a lot of people from around the world. I have so many memories in my mind. It's that's why I do what I do. Is when you can create an experience for someone that has never been to your city, you're gonna get the exact same in return when you make those connections and you go to their city. So when I have guests from Nashville, they offered, let me know when you're in Nashville and we'll tell you where the best barbecue is, or we'll tell you where the best karaoke is in Nashville. And I did that. So it
Oh,
is, yeah,
wow. That's cool.
it is. Yeah. So that's, I've been to Nashville a few times, and obviously, my favorite city in the world is Las
Las
Vegas.
Vegas. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
And so it's always a joy to stay at the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas. And my mom and I like to go on vacation there, and we just,
I've stayed at the Cosmo. It's amazing. And
it is my favorite hotel in the world.
oh, for sure. Same, same. So right after COVID, we're talking called April 2021. We decide it's time. Let's get out of Billings. And so Jen and I decided we're gonna go to Vegas. Night shows are still not happening yet. Okay. But Vegas is back open for business at this point. Restaurants are open and nobody's going.
Right.
And so we got a Cosmos suite, like 80,000 floors up, panoramic deck. We were paying like $250 a night for that.
Right. Which that would go for $1,000 a night.
A grand a night. Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. At least. No, I think it was actually more. I think it was like $1,500 a night.
Right.
And so there wasn't a lot to do. So what Jen and I did, we just went shopping, we ate, we brought food in, we sat there and watched the fountains, and we just watched Vegas at night. It was amazing. I agree. One of the best hotels that they have there. Now, is the JW Marriott, are they affiliated with the Cosmo?
So technically, yes, parent brand, which is Marriott International. We have over 30 brands. And the Cosmopolitan is not one of our brands, but the Cosmopolitan is an autograph collection hotel.
Yeah.
And the autograph collection is a brand under Marriott International. And you'll find it's typically a one-off type of hotel in every city. And there's multiple. There's like, I believe the Gwen in Chicago is one. There's so many. I can't even think. I'm drawing a blank right now. But basically, if you like luxury hotels, you're going to do just fine in an autograph collection. It's a little bit probably lower tier as far as you're not going to get the St. Regis Ritz-Carlton type of butler service, but you're definitely going to get the decor, the views, all that. And it's definitely connected, but not exactly the same brand.
So concierge, that's what you do. What's a day look like in the life of Ben at JW Marriott? For those, especially for those of us that don't really understand, I know what concierge does. Walk us through what you have clients, you have people that you service specifically.
Right.
And give us a little insight. What does that look like?
So when people come to me, or they can even call prior to the arrival, obviously they can find out. Basically, my job is assist people to make sure that they have the greatest time while they are here. That's it. You expand upon it so many ways. You can have, and let me give you these are real life examples, by the way.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I had a lady and her daughters come up from Iowa, and they live on a farm. Not a lot of access to shopping. They came up to the Mall of America. They stayed with us for an entire weekend, like a month before Christmas, because I remember the shipping was a little crazy. I'll get to that. They went shopping at the Mall of America, and they said, "Can you please help us haul our bags back to the hotel?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I had to get permission to do that. I went to pick up all their packages throughout the mall. Took up my entire day, which was not my intention. But you know what? They were happy. I said, "You know what? I'm not going to bring these to your room. We're just going to keep them secure in the bell desk." And I said, "Do you need any other assistance?" They said, "Well, can you help us ship them home?" I said, Absolutely. Absolutely. So the next day, I spent almost my entire day packaging up finding boxes from engineering through housekeeping that all their stuff will fit in. Packaged up all their stuff, contacted FedEx. I said, "I need you to assist me on getting these. Oh my gosh, I think there was probably at least 14 boxes
Oh my gosh.
of just Christmas presents. And I was thinking, wait a minute, what did they drive here in? And I had to laugh. It was this lady and her two daughters. They pull around from valet in their Chevy Metro. I was like, no wonder you need this shipped. Yeah. And so I said, well, we're definitely saving on gas and mileage with that type of car. Let's put it all to shipping. So yeah,
No.
you don't even want to know the astronomical amount that it was to ship home. They didn't care. They just wanted to have a good time. And again, that's like our brand is a upscale clientele. And so I helped them ship the stuff home. It was fun. I book concert tickets for people. I have a lady that came up to me in a panic because she was responsible for getting Bonnie Raitt and James Taylor tickets for her and her husband later that evening.
Oh my goodness.
And she's like, I don't want to spend $750 on tickets, but we want to sit as close as possible. Is there any way you could possibly help me out? I said, I'm going to do what I can. And I was in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I can absolutely get them taken care of. Because I knew that Bonnie Raitt and James Taylor were playing at the Xcel Energy Center in St. Paul, which is where the Minnesota Wild play. And a week prior, I had seen Shania Twain there. The day of the show, I looked on Ticketmaster because that's what I do. Always wait till the day of the show, if you can, to buy tickets, if that's convenient for you. I got on Ticketmaster at 10 a.m. and I got to the side of the stage, front row, 2 tickets for me and my buddy.
To
And I'm
Shania
like,
Twain.
to Shania Twain. Well, of course, I took video because why wouldn't you?
I gotta ask.
Yes.
What does a front row ticket to Shania Twain in Twin Cities go for? How much you pay? What do you think they would go for?
Here's the thing, though, too. There's so many logistics, and that's kind of a loaded question. And this is how I get technical with people. Front row, a lot of people think front row, like in front of the stage, like front row right there.
Right.
Those would start probably $1,000 each at least.
Sure.
Well, the tickets that I got were, again, side of the stage, and you can still see everything. There's no one in front of you, and you're up high, the exact same level as Shania Twain. She comes over and like acknowledges us more than the rest of the arena. Those tickets cost me $79 after taxes and fees each. So I have this in the back of my mind. I was like,
8% of what you would pay if you wait the day of.
Yes. Not always, though. Not always.
But
let me make that abundantly clear. Not always.
Not always, but still, yeah.
Depending on the artist, of course. Yeah. So I said to this couple, or to this lady, I said, yeah. Oh my God. I mean, some of us wouldn't even pay to see him, but no disrespect. I'll listen from behind the grandstand.
So you were saying you were front row, and you were saying you were recording.
Yes. So I took a video, and said to this lady, I said, I'm going to do what I can to see what kind of tickets I can get to James Taylor and Bonnie Raitt. She's like, I'm going to go out for a smoke real quick. I'll be right back in. I was like, okay. So I pull it up, my laptop. I'm looking, and it's about 10 a.m. And I was like, you've got to be joking me. Those exact same seats in that exact same section just opened up for James Taylor and Bonnie Raitt. And I was just like, how am I going to do this? I was like, I'm signed in under my Ticketmaster account. I'm not going to buy these tickets for her. So
you bought 3 tickets and you went with her, right?
Right? No, not exactly. So I'm looking out onto the front drive. She's having her smoke, and I was like, she needs to hurry. Because you know how when you go to buy tickets, there's that little timer in the top right, kind of like I can see on this screen right now. It's like, you better hurry. You better get something done before that time runs out. So she's coming in. She's like, do you have any luck? I said, come look at this. I had that video pulled up on my phone of that I took a Shania Twain.
Well, yeah.
I said, would you like this view of James Taylor and Bonnie Raitt tonight? She's like, how much is that going to cost me? I said, $110. She's like, there's no way. She's like, what's the catch? I said, tickets just opened up right now. I did the exact same thing with Shania Twain a week ago. Would you like them or not? You have 7 minutes and 43 seconds to make a decision. She's like,
she tells
yes.
You no.
I know, right? She's like, yes, of course. She's like, my budget's only 25. Sorry. Anyway, so we had got her the tickets. She gave me her credit card, and I got her the tickets. And the next day, she comes down. She's walking towards me, and I was like, she had a look on her face, just if the general public, I had no idea like what the conversation we had the day prior, if they saw her, they would think she was scowling at me, and she's walking towards me, and I was like, "How are you?" And she throws her arms around me and starts crying, and she's like, "I had the greatest night of my life thanks to you." I was like, "Now I want to cry, man." So she and her husband had went, and she's like, she showed me her video she took, exact same view, but of Bonnie Raitt and James Taylor. And so, oh my gosh, so things like that. It's moments like that where if you use your own mind and tricks to help other people out.
Absolutely.
If you know how to get a good deal, not even a good deal, but just a good experience.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you know how it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing's free.
Nothing,
If you get what you pay for most of the time these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have to be able to give in a little, and that's what she did. And oh my gosh, so that's one of my favorite stories ever. Because I will always remember her.
Yeah. JW Marriott, very big, luxurious hotel. I've had the pleasure of actually staying there myself, and that was fantastic. You made our trip phenomenal. And one of the greatest experiences that I was able to share with my father. And now that he's not with us anymore, that memory is even more great,
Absolutely.
Going back to the JW Marriott brand, it probably attracts a lot of famous people, celebrities. Do you see all kinds of people like that come through your hotel all the time?
I do, and I would absolutely love to share a lot of the people that I have seen and met. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to, but I can definitely tell you that the one of the people that I did meet was one of the tallest people I've ever met, and he used to have a brand of shoe growing up that I had in the 6th grade, and he was a professional basketball player.
Okay.
And he is currently a commentator on some TV station.
Yeah, I think he has a restaurant of really, really good chicken that he's pushing. That's fantastic chicken. If you like fried chicken, amazing fried chicken.
Yes. And he may or may not have been a DJ or an actor at one point in time, too.
Huh.
So, yeah, people like that I get to meet every now and then.
I see. Yeah. But of course, you're not able to ask for photographs, autographs, because you are there to serve and provide high level service for them. So if you're in a situation where you see somebody like in your situation, Beyonce comes up. As big of a fan as you are of Beyonce, you can't say, "Oh, Beyonce, can I get a photo?"
Right. I can't. I can still talk to her. Obviously, I mean, that's my job.
What if Beyonce says, "Hey, you want a photo of me?" Are you able to open yourself in that situation? Or is it still strictly hi, we don't do that?
Of her or with her?
With her.
With her. I could, because that would be a guest request, but it would have to be on her phone.
Not on yours.
Lord forbid she sends it to me.
She's like, "What? This guy from the Twin Cities keeps texting me."
Sir, I will not follow you on Instagram. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
No, God love
Destiny's Child is not getting back together. Now shut up.
Right, exactly.
And so, but you've had a lot of those, what most people would say once in a lifetime experiences where you've got to have one-on-one conversations, help people who are in that realm of celebrities or famous people with things that in requests that nobody else has asked or helped them with. That's right. That's pretty cool.
It is.
That's awesome. And there's got to be a really great feeling of fulfillment that comes with your position too.
Without a doubt, especially when you either get gratuity or just a simple thank you, or like a letter or a note, or even feedback after their stay, telling them how. And when you're name dropped, oh my gosh! I mean, when you get name dropped by the greatest quarterback of all time, debatable by some people, that feels pretty good.
Tony Romo?
Who?
Troy Aikman?
I said quarterbacks, not NFL commentators. Oh, that was low. Sorry.
That was pretty low. Look at it this way. Romo may be a commentator, but he is far superior to the quarterback that Dallas has now.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's Dak is good. I mean, we saw Dak together. Remember that? He's not terrible. He's like Kirk Cousins.
I would say
Good quarterback, but not
not great.
fantastic.
No, no. I would actually say that Dak is a little bit better than Kirk Cousins, but it's not much. I have my own NFL franchise. I get to start my own NFL franchise, and I'm forced to pick between Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins. I'm picking Dak Prescott, but it's not because of being a former Cowboys fan or anything of that nature. It's because he's younger. I think that he still has maybe a couple years left. I think Kirk has proved that he only thrives in certain systems. Of course, with Dak, he's only been in one system, and everybody Jerry Jones brings in has to create a Dak friendly system. Oh, yes. But I would
Right.
agree with you 100%.
Also, I think once Kirk's mind went to the money more than football,
Oh, gone.
that mindset, you're sorry, I cannot imagine anyone having 100% focus on the game that they should when they're making that much money. And that's the problem with sports. But
For
some people
sure.
thrive.
But look at Russell Wilson. I was just talking with Jen about this the other day, right? Russell Wilson's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He would have had 2 Super Bowls if they hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch and he gets the touchdown. But he has been to the Super Bowl twice. He's won one,
Right.
inches from winning his second one. And it was at the point that Pete Carroll and Seattle parted ways with this guy.
Uh-huh.
And why? A, felt he was spending more time shaking hands and kissing babies and mingling with people that were in that upper echelon than he was focusing on the game of football. And I think that you could see when he went to Denver, his career really went backwards. He did a stint in Pittsburgh, which was mediocre. And now he's going to the New York Football Giants. And I mean, he'll probably
Right.
play better than Dak does this year, but
Well, I think ever since the Giants lost the lovely Daniel Jones, they needed to find somebody just as good. Sorry. Oh my gosh. See, it's hard for me to throw shade at football because I love football and I love watching football. But
and obviously Vikings are your team.
they are. And guess who we got? Daniel Jones. But
But
we'll see. I don't think he's sticking around though.
no, I don't think so either. Who you drafted last year is going to get us.
AJ McCarthy. Absolutely.
He's going to get a chance to start. You have a fantastic football coach, a great system. And the reason I say that is Kirk Cousins thrived in that system. He just couldn't get you over that hump.
Right.
Then you bring in Sam Darnold, whose career is considered done.
Right.
And Sam Darnold has a fantastic run until he gets to the playoffs. Then he started to look like Dak Prescott.
Right. Exactly. And tying that into business, I mean, the NFL is a business. It's one of the largest businesses in the world. I mean, you're talking multi-billions and billions of dollars.
Billions.
When you invest that much money in somebody and they're doing great all year, Q1, Q2, Q3, when it comes clutch time, Q4, and they drop the ball,
Yep.
pun intended, it's going to be a little difficult to ask them to come back next year.
Oh, for sure.
Especially when there's that much on the line. So Arnold was one of the greatest. He played with us for a year. He was one of the greatest Vikings quarterbacks of all time. My God, look at the season. Yes.
When you
But
look at the
clutch
stats and look at where he led the team, absolutely.
Yes, but when it came to clutch time, oh my gosh! I mean, I pity the guy. But at the same time, you listen to Paul Allen throw the ball.
Oh
my God! When you hear Paul Allen get that fired up, when it's not a touchdown, oh, you know that you messed up.
You messed up. Well, and we talk about quarterbacks like Sam Darnold when he was with the Jets. Probably one of the most dysfunctional organizations out there, besides probably Cleveland and Dallas. Their owner is on a cloud of his own. I don't know if you knew this. Their owner was actually using his kids in the Madden game on Xbox, PlayStation, and the ranking levels that the players had. He was using that as guides to how he was building that team.
Oh my Lord.
I mean, and that's not me saying that. There's reports. You can Google that. That is legitimate out there. So I think the thing with Sam Darnold is he came in to a great system, had the supporting players that he needed, had the coaches that he needed.
Right.
But you saw his ceiling. And I think he went above his ceiling. And I think that that's why the Vikings decided we're not going to franchise him. We're not going to pay him what he has, and we're going to see what we have here. Now, going with Daniel Jones, I think that at that point you're just looking for a viable backup that might be able to come in and compete.
Right.
Next week, we continue our great conversation with Service Guru Ben. Join us for part 2. We will continue to discuss all things service. If you like what you hear, hit subscribe and share.